Nation SI, your host Dan Dickau here with the newest Gonzaga Bulldog. We had a chance recently to talk with assistant coach RJ Barsh. Now we've got the newest player. He didn't have to go far from Eastern Washington as a transfer, Steele Venters. Steele, thanks for joining.
Yeah, I appreciate you for having me.
Well, let's quickly talk about your kind of early part of your career. You grew up in Ellensburg area. Actually, you and I met maybe 5 or 6 years ago alongside another player who committed to Gonzaga, Brock Reve, with some workout stuff. Your career path is a lot different than some other guys, but you have made the most of everything. Tell us how you got from East Ellensburg to Eastern first off.
Yeah, so really getting recruited at high school, Eastern was kind of my only D1 offer at the time, and I was kind of deciding whether to go stay home and go to Central at D2 or take the chance and go to Eastern as a preferred walk-on. And so I decided to take the jump and go to Eastern, redshirted my first year, and had a big jump my freshman year, just gaining weight. I was skinny. And so, yeah, I just took a jump physically, mentally, and I think my redshirt freshman year was like the biggest year for me as far as just developing my game. And then second year didn't get to see the court a whole lot. And then we had a coaching change, and Coach Riley took over here at Eastern, and he kind of gave me the keys, and the rest is kind of history.
Well, you bet on yourself as a walk-on at the Division I level. That paid off. Your hard work paid off when David Riley took the job over and gave you opportunities. What was the biggest part of your growth in your game once you were able to crack the rotation and play?
Really, I think it was just like physically. Like I said, I came in skinny, and I think I gained like 10 pounds of muscle in my first year. And then I think just adjusting to the pace. Obviously I played AAU and all that, but it's still just different, coming to a D1 level. And I also played against good guys in practice. I mean, that team went to the tournament the next year, and I think just playing against those guys and the competition, it just leveled my game up.
I think you're alluding to the Groves brothers who were at Eastern Washington early in your career. They both went to Oklahoma. Tanner is trying to get his foot in the door in the professional ranks, and Jacob's actually in the transfer portal, which you were there just a couple weeks ago. When you talk about development as a player and having to kind of prove yourself against the guys that are already entrenched there, how difficult is that? Because I think a lot of people don't realize if you come in with not a lot of expectations and you have to prove yourself every day, it builds a confidence in yourself that when your opportunity is there, you're ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, I think the biggest thing for me was, I'm a gym rat. I like being in the gym. I like, work hard. And I think just trusting that work is the biggest thing. And that was what helped me become like successful and here at Eastern, is trusting my work, getting better every day, and the rest took care of itself.
Coach Riley gave you a big opportunity. 2 years ago, you scored it at a really high clip. This past season, you were the Big Sky Player of the Year. In those 2 years where you were really the focal point of the offense, where has your biggest growth as a player come? Because many times it might be your approach to a game or your patience within the game, as opposed to you probably always knew you could shoot it. You could always handle it well enough to get to your spots. But where was your biggest growth in those 2 years?
I think just really just getting open. I think finding ways to get separation from guys. I got guys locking and trailing me the whole game, doubling me. So I think just finding ways to be creative and getting open and coming off pin downs and making the right reads was like, I think, the biggest jump I had.
How difficult of a decision is it as you're the Big Sky Player of the Year to go into the transfer portal? Because I transferred years ago when it wasn't a normal thing. But now you see almost 1,500 players. You're the Big Sky Player of the Year in your conference. If you go back to Eastern, the ball's going to be in your hands, making decisions at the most important, crucial times. But what made you think, hey, I want to go in the portal. I want to see what opportunities are there.
Yeah, obviously I would have had to a big opportunity at Eastern to come back, but at the same time, I think I was just ready for a new challenge. I think I did 4 years here. Um, I just wanted a new setting, and I think moving up in conference and the culture that Gonzaga has is second to none. So I wanted to be a part of that when they contacted me out of the portal. And so, yeah.
When you put your name in the portal, I'm sure you've got a couple schools in your mind that like, hey, I would love to hear from this school. I would love to hear from that school. This would be my dream school. What were some of the schools that contacted you? And then where was Gonzaga in your thought process of, hey, if they offer me, I'm there in a heartbeat? Where were they with that?
Oh, they're at the top for sure. I think that's one school I really wanted to see call, and they ended up being my first call out of the portal. Coach Gentry called me 10 minutes out of the portal, and um, I had some other schools, Colorado, I really took interest in, and a couple other schools, but those were the top two, and Gonzaga was top tier for sure. And like I said, just I think then call like they were literally my first call, so just showing that interest from the start and talking to my parents, and I think we just created a natural bond like right off the jump, and so I think it just felt natural.
So you grew up in the middle of the state in Ellensburg. So you're halfway between UW, halfway between Gonzaga and Wazoo. Did you grow up a Gonzaga fan, or were you a Cougar, or were you a Husky?
So my sister actually went to UW. So I was kind of a UW fan, but like growing up, I always watched Gonzaga basketball because, they're always dominant and always had really good players that I would like to model my game after, or just stuff like that. So I think the culture, like I said, is second to none. So just being a part of that is really something special.
So you mentioned players you want to model your game after. You've been in my gym in Spokane a few times, Shoot 360. I saw you working out last night with some guys, and I know this for a fact. You can shoot the heck out of the ball. I think Gonzaga fans are going to be excited about that. But who do you model your game after? If you're going to sit there for an evening and watch a game on TV, maybe have the iPad and kind of follow clips on somebody.
Yeah, I mean, as far as Gonzaga guys go, I think Corey Kispert's a big one I like to watch, and he's similar to me. I think obviously he's a little bigger, and I want to get to that point, but I like watching Corey. In the NBA, Devin Booker, Tyler Hero, those guys that can really shoot it, and they create space really well, and so just taking pointers from them, and yeah.
I understand you're currently also in the NBA early entry draft pool. And that's something that a lot of guys take advantage of to kind of gauge what the interest is at the next level. Also to kind of learn a scouting report and really take home what they need to work on and improve on for the next year. What was the thought process for you putting your name into the draft, and how are you kind of handling both being committed to Gonzaga, but also preparing for any possible workouts that are coming up?
Yeah, I think I just wanted to get the feedback, like you said. I think it's really crucial that I know where I stand kind of at the pro level, and um, I had a lot of looks during the season of scouts and stuff like that. So I just wanted to, you know, bet on myself and take that risk and kind of go see and test out what I could do. So I think just balancing it. Obviously, I think I'm gonna come back, but just going to see what that world is like is interesting to me, and I think would bring me a lot of feedback to myself to know what I need to get better at.
Yeah, there's been a lot of guys that have used that evaluation process in a positive way, come back to college and, made an impact the next season. I expect that to be the case for you. Couple minutes left before I let you go, because I know you got to get to the gym for another workout, but favorite player, Gonzaga history, but then also favorite player in the NBA right now.
Gonzaga history, I'm gonna go Kispert just because I think we're similar, and he's killing in the NBA. Ooh, NBA. It's always been KD growing up, but I think right now I like watching Jason Tatum. I think he's unbelievable.
Toughest matchup that you had this past season, because I know at Eastern Washington you guys played at Texas Tech, you played Washington State a couple times. Who would have been the toughest matchup?
I think Texas Tech was our biggest matchup, and that was a fun game going. And their crowd's always going crazy, so that was a really fun game.
Uh, Football or soccer?
I'm gonna go football for sure.
Awesome. And then what is the biggest difference? Because I know Ellensburg's a small town. Cheney's a small town. I'm not saying Spokane's a big city in any way, stretch, or form, but what are you most looking forward to about Spokane?
Uh, I think just the culture, really. I don't think people realize how big basketball is in Spokane. I think obviously you're a big part of that. John Stockton's a big part of that, and just I'm ready for the culture and the excitement that they bring around Gonzaga basketball, and yeah, that's really it.
Well, Steele, welcome to Gonzaga. Looking forward to having you be a part of that Gonzaga program. I followed you from your time in high school to then being at Eastern. You've made tremendous strides, and I look forward to watching the next step at EU. So, congratulations, best of luck, and I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you for having me.